So we're out here at the farm today doing a few different projects. We're gonna clear some cedar trees that are growing so thick the deer can't utilize the area. They can't walk through it, there's no sunlight getting to it, and there's no growth in there. So we're gonna thin those out to a nice spaced distance. And I love having cedars. I mean, I wanna have the thermal cover, I wanna have the screen, I wanna have the good bedding. So we wanna keep some cedars, but we wanna thin them way down. We're gonna make some trails through the timber where it just got incredibly thick, or we're gonna make some trails where we wanna funnel them past our tree stands. And then the third thing we're gonna do, or third or fourth, would be we're gonna do some timber stand improvement with the mulcher. And I've done thousands of acres with a chainsaw using my body, and this is kind of a new tool for me, but we're gonna actually do some TSI with the mulcher, maybe clear some ironwood, clear some multiple rows. And then the fourth thing would be if we want to make little food plot locations, we can do that with this. So what we're using today, this is a Vail disc mulcher. I just got this skid steer. So I'm new to running this. I've ran it for maybe 20, 30 hours and I feel like I got the hang of it. I'm definitely not a pro. I got the Vail just because after doing a lot of research and talking to different guys and running some really cheap equipment that doesn't hold up. You know, I guess the sales line somebody gave me was, this stuff is heavy enough that they're gonna give it to their grandkids. It'll last that long. I mean, it's just the heaviest stuff I've ever seen run. And I've got a disc and I have a drum. For the farm use, the disc for me is far better. It just goes so much quicker. And I'll warn everybody, I mean, it's violent. That's probably the best word I could use to explain it. It's violent, it's awesome. It just rips things to shreds. So it's actually a lot of fun. I got the ASV skid steer just because it's got 15 inches of ground clearance. It's got 45 gallon per minute hydraulic flow, runs really cool. It's just, this is what it's meant for. And you know, that's fundamentally all I do with skid steers is run them on my farm and in the timber. So it's just a great combination. And again, I'm kind of new to it. So bear with me, I'm learning some of this stuff along the way. I know my timber stand improvement, I know my timber, and that's where I'm gonna combine learning how to use this machinery with all the knowledge I already have on the timber stand improvement. I took this tree right here. I'd say it's maybe 14 inches in diameter, ground that down to a stump, and I'll show you how the front of this thing can actually get under the ground and get rid of the stump. I'm definitely not an expert yet on running this thing, but I've got it down pretty good. And there's some debris through here, and I can take as much time if I want to go over it a little more and shred this up into little chunks. And one thing we'll address later is what we're going to plant in here. And that's kind of a learning experience on seeing what kind of pops up. My acidity is not too bad in here, so I think it will grow more things than cedars. Ideally, I'd like some forbs. I can put some clover in here. I can plant some things. We'll see what kind of naturally pops up. But I can get this soil pretty clean here, and I'll show this. And I'm gonna go back through and get these branches cleaned up and break it down so there's some exposed soil. But check out this stump. Stump's there right now. Give it about 10 seconds. Few little chunks. Check this out though. I mean, there's exposed soil here. This is like plant ready. There's a little bit of residue on here which will break down, but that stump, I can't even find it. What this is gonna do for deer, right now they can't use this. So we'll do a lot of shots before and after. They can't get through this. There's no food, there's no sunlight. There's actually soil erosion within the cedars. So the deer aren't utilizing this. So what we're doing is we're creating actually more free acres because they weren't utilizing this one drop. So we want browse, we want thermal cover, we want screening, we want good bedding. And right now it's none of those things. So after we get through here, deer are gonna live here, they're gonna travel through here, If they need to, escape from a coyote, they can get out of here, no problem. And they're going to be very comfortable in here. Right now, they're not utilizing it. So there will still be cedars here, but the food, the browse, the bedding, all going to be enhanced. Colorado dust storms for the 1930s or whatever it was. We don't have that anymore here because, well, never mind. Yeah, we don't have dust storms here on my farm just because we do everything no-till, everything seeded down. We build the organic matter, we stop erosion. So this is kind of unusual for me to see this kind of stuff here, but this will be ready to plant really soon. We're working on cedars. Now we're gonna work on some hardwoods. I think there's specifications on what size trees these mulchers can do, but I'll show you kind of the diameters of what I'm working with. Clearly the little stuff is nothing. I mean, I'll limit it so for safety and so on. And but the nice part is I can go through, look out the window and know exactly which tree species I'm dealing with and literally kill the inferior trees, free up the good trees, or if there's a bunch of junk trees, I could open little pockets up in the timber with this. As long as we're not getting into giant trees, they could, something like that, yeah, it's gonna tip on this thing and smash us, and we're gonna be in a little bit of trouble there. So we're not gonna do that, but manageable sized trees, we'll give you some examples, and we can do some TSI, open some things up, and we're gonna maybe just clean up a little bit of the multiflora rows and then divert some trails. I've got a blind where I can't get a tree stand in here because the trees are so little, so I put a blind out here, and we can divert these trails through the timber right out to where we want them to go, which is all heading towards my blind. This rig is obviously heavy duty. It's built for the task, and I've just got an immense amount of projects to do. But I've done this for years and years and years with a chainsaw, learning my tree species. I mean, this started 25 years ago. So a lot of this stuff, the same concept, you can do this with a chainsaw. And the reason that my timber is so thick and so much open area and so much browse and bedding is from all the chainsaw work I've done. So this is just obviously a huge level up. And there's options on renting these things. There's options for hiring guys out, even if it's fairly significant amount of money to run it for a few days. I mean, what it can do is just amazing. So renting, buying one, or using a chainsaw, or using a lot of different methods. Like I've always said on different videos, podcasts, there's usually 10 different ways to solve any given problem.